In ancient times, there was a world called the spirit realm. In the spirit realm, there were various creatures that possessed a mysterious power called psionic power. Psionic power was the source of the spirit realm, and it could transform creatures, give them extraordinary abilities, and influence the environment of the spirit realm, creating fantastic scenes. The source of psionic power was a giant crystal that floated in the center of the spirit realm, emitting colorful light. It was called the spirit source. One day, a wandering pack of hunting wolves passed by here. They were attracted by the prey around the crystal and decided to approach the crystal to see what was going on. They didn't know that this crystal was actually an ancient seal that imprisoned an evil bloodthirsty god named Drak. He had powerful abilities. He attempts to use psionic power to control the world outside the spirit realm. He wanted to become the master of all things. His ambition angered the gods, who united and waged a tremendous war against Drak. In the end, they used the spirit source to seal Drak, making him unable to escape forever. However, Drak did not completely disappear. His consciousness and power remained in the spirit source, and he has been looking for a way to break the seal and waiting for an opportunity to take revenge. Every full moon night, the spirit source undergoes some strange changes. It absorbs the psionic power of the moonlight and slowly releases some of its power, affecting the creatures around it, making them become violent and cruel. This is actually Drak's conspiracy. He wants to use the creatures of the spirit realm to carry his consciousness and regain his freedom. However, his plan is not so easy to implement because the creatures of the spirit realm also have their own will and power, and they will not be easily controlled by Drak. When the wolf pack was lured to the vicinity of the crystal, Drak felt their breath and took the opportunity to invade their bodies with his power. He wanted to use the wolf's body to escape from the seal, but he did not expect that these wolves only became more bloodthirsty and violent, but could not carry his consciousness because their wolf nature has been resisting Drak's control. As time passed, Drak continued to look for more powerful and intelligent creatures. At the same time, every full moon night, Drak would release psionic power to influence the wolf pack, making them smarter. But he also began to be affected by the wolf's psionic power until the appearance of humans. Drak found a new opportunity. On the full moon night, he used the wolf pack to lure the tribe's hunters to the vicinity of the crystal. He took the opportunity to invade their bodies with his power, preparing to use the human body to escape from the seal. However, he didn't anticipate that these hunters had once been guided by the gods. They engage in a fierce internal battle with Drak, trying to resist his control. In the process, their bodies underwent strange changes. Their skin became furry, their teeth became sharp, and their eyes turned red. They became half human and half wolf creatures, that is, werewolves. The hunters realized their changes and felt afraid. They didn't know if they could return to their original state or if they were still human. Drak also felt the hunters' resistance. He did not completely control the new body, but instead created another new species. He roared in anger, and the werewolves also began to behave violently under the drive of psionic power. This force tore the crystal apart. Drak wanted to break the seal and destroy everything. He did not expect that the crystal's fragmentation would also cause a disaster. The crystal fragments fell like rain, carrying strong psionic power, and hit the ground, causing a huge explosion that affected hundreds of miles. In this disaster, countless creatures died, and countless civilizations disappeared. Only a few creatures survived. They also underwent various mutations due to the influence of the crystal and became all kinds of strange creatures like vampires, goblins, giants, dragons, and so on. These creatures became enemies of each other. They fought each other for resources and territory, and the world became a chaotic and dangerous place. The werewolves paid a heavy price in this disaster. Most of them died, and only a few survivors returned to the tribe, hiding their identities and continuing to reproduce. But every full moon night, they would hide in the deep mountains and transform into werewolves, releasing their crazy and bloodthirsty side. They also constantly searched for the crystal fragments, hoping to find a way to restore their humanity or completely get rid of Drak's influence. What they didn't know was that Drak did not disappear. He was only sealed in the crystal fragments, waiting for an opportunity to rise again and realize his ambition. This is the origin of the werewolves, and it is also an endless war of the werewolves.